What is up, people? Matt here again. So this is going to be a bit of a catch-up video. Obviously, I'm sure some of you have noticed I haven't done a video in quite a while, 2 weeks in fact. I haven't got a reason for it, to be honest. After I kind of quit Bleach Brave Souls, obviously I stopped doing videos for a bit. I never actually even did a video saying I was quitting Brave Souls, but I just after the last video I did, I realised that a free-to-play, kind of pay to advance game is really not what I want from Bleach, and it was too expensive to support with money. It would be ridiculous to spend money on that game. It would be a total waste. So I just gave up with the game, to be honest. But that's not to say I haven't been keeping up to date with the chapters in Bleach. I've been reading the chapters as soon as they came out. I just haven't done a review on them. So as I said, I'm going to do a kind of catch-up video today. So I'm actually going to be doing 3 chapters in one, and we'll go through them all. Although I'm weeks behind, so most of you probably read the chapters if you do read Bleach. But this is just for, to get to up to date. So obviously chapter 661, my last words. So Hashwalt appears before Ichigo and Uryu and those lot, and he's like, I know what's going on here. I'm not an idiot. And Uryu's like, I'll hold him off, and then obviously they go off. So Hashwolf says about the sun gates, which they use to teleport. They're kind of teleporters basically, or gateways. Apparently though, the sun gates that connect to the real world have already been destroyed. So that didn't work out very well. Ichigo's like, oh, it looks like we'll have to fight him. And then Uryu says about Hashwalt powers, because obviously Hashwalt and U-Arch powers switch between day and night. So Uryu's like, go kill U-Arch while Hashwalt has the powers. But it doesn't quite go down like that, I don't think. So Ichigo's doing the usual "don't die" Uryu, which I'm going against the whole of the fan base, but I really don't like Uryu a lot, to be honest. And the fact that Ichigo and him are being buddies again annoys me a bit, because Uryu's just a bit smug compared to everyone else. His pride as a Quincy really frustrates me, because the Quincy's aren't really a proud race. They're a bit of dicks, to be honest. I mean, the Soul Reapers aren't much better, but they, at least they kind of they hold their principles, whereas the Quincy are a bit divisive, So Hashwolf and Uryu are having a bit of a standoff. Uryu's surprised that Hashwolf isn't going to chase them down, and he's like, well, I don't need to, because they're going to die anyway. So Uryu's basically is starting to get a fight with Hashwolf, but that doesn't actually really happen. We don't see that. So Ichigo, Chad, and Orihime are climbing up to the top. And all of a sudden these statues come to life that seem to block the path. Sort of standard sort of thing. Chad does an attack and blasts like a wall, I think, down or something. He blasts like a kind of barrier bridge. And he says he's going to stay behind to deal with them. So obviously already here we're getting them splitting up and each doing their own thing. But Chad can probably deal with them, to be honest. But just as that happens, there's a hole in the ground, and out of the ground, Ganju appears. obviously he's created sand and he's managed to blast himself all the way up there. So Ganju and Chad are going to deal with these statues, while Ichigo and Orihime advance onward to Yuha. It could go down with Orihime and Ichigo against Yuha, which would be actually quite interesting. That's what I would like to happen, but more than likely Orihime will also be split up from Ichigo to do something, even though there's nobody left. But it would be interesting to see how that actually happens. So now we've actually... Have we gone on to something else? So in chapter 662, God of Thunder, we're actually going back to the Yoruichi and Askin fight. And Askin's smug as well, to be honest, because he's like, yeah, you can't kill me, whatever happens, so I don't care. But the fight with Yoruichi and Askin continued on. Askin's quite surprised that Yoruichi's managed to survive this long. In fact, he says if it had been anyone else, it would have been over by now. But you know, Yushiro's fucked. Okay, Yushiro is on the ground. He's like totally out of it. You know, if he doesn't get help, he will die. So obviously that's a bit of pressure put on Yoruichi to finish this fight as quick as possible. But obviously Askin's not just going to die. So it's not looking good. But out of nowhere, seemingly, of course, Kisuke appears. Of course, Kisuke and Yoruichi had to be in the same fight. But it turns out Kisuke actually injects Yoruichi with a drug, which you know manages to keep her going. Because I think what happened is she was paralysed, I believe. So this drug has managed to like free her from that for a while. And then Askin obviously acknowledges that Kisuke's there, and he's like, oh, you know, out of all the people that I've come against, yet another person that's going to be a hassle. And then Askin sort of praises Kisuke, but he's like, you know, you're overestimating me a bit much. Although obviously that's bullshit, to be honest. He's very chill about things. He doesn't like to be recognised. He doesn't want to give away stuff. But interestingly enough, the 5 war powers have actually been all of them have actually been revealed now, which is quite interesting. They're not as surprising as you'd think. So obviously you've got. So Askin actually says about this. He says these 5 battle powers are belonging to exceptional individuals who are chosen for a very specific quality of theirs. Unusual enough that they were classed as an unknown variable. So you know they're completely unknown. Anything can happen. These guys are capable of anything. So obviously you got Ichigo with his latent ability. You got Kenpachi with his fighting. You got Ichibei with his wisdom. You got Aizen with his Ryatsu, and you've got Urahara with his unknown means. So basically, fuck knows what Kisuke does. He just does shit, and you can't predict it. Ashley says, no matter all these plans, all these schemes, you know, that happen, he'll always find a way, which is true. He's never really been stuck, legit. And then Askin mentions about all the problems that he's having with this, and Askin keeps coming up against all the people that are actually, you know, a pain in the arse to actually deal with. So Yoruichi's back in the fight for the minute, and as she's about to do another one of her Shunko attacks, Kisuke stops her and says, let's do it. Whatever it is Kisuke is proposing, Yoruichi doesn't like that. She mentions about going into this form, but it appears that she doesn't really have a say in it, which she does, but Kisuke ultimately has the final decision. Askin says, well, it doesn't matter really, because as long as I can't be hurt by your Ryatsu, it doesn't matter. And then for some reason Kisuke has this bit of paper, which is, it's a bit weird. But it says, as soon as I peel this off, you'll transform. So he peels it off, and then a massive explosion happens, which hits Askin. And Yoruichi turns into like some kind of cat creature. Obviously, she's already sort of a cat as it is, but she turns into she goes even in human form. She's now sort of become a bit more of a kind of cat. And the name for it is Flash God Super Transformation. And that's where chapter 662 ends. Now, chapter 664, or 63, sorry, is the God of Thunder 4. So again, this is a continuation with the Yoruichi, Askin, and now Kisuke fight. She becomes a bit feral, but ridiculously powerful. Now, she still does her Shunko stuff, but so it turns out that the name is actually Shunryu Kokubyo Senkai. Translated, it's Flash God Black Cat Warrior Princess, which makes sense because she's sort of a cat and she's a warrior, and she's also, obviously, she was the head of the Hoenn clan, so she's kind of a princess as well. So Askin and Kisuke are actually talking. And he's like, Kisuke's like, that's the name. And then Askin's like, oh, don't you give me that. You know what's going on here. Don't be coy. And then then Askin says, she doesn't understand our language. So it turns out that in this form, she can't actually speak, and she doesn't understand the language either. So she's total feral. But it appears that in this new form, Yoruichi is actually able to her Askin. It's a pretty kind of simple explanation. It's pretty simple to explain. Basically what happens is, in this form, Yoruichi is able to change her own Ryatsu every, I believe it's 48 seconds or something along those lines. I'll get to that in a minute. But Askin can only be immune to a Ryatsu, or he can adapt to it every minute or so. So she can change her Ryatsu quicker than he can adapt to the Ryatsu. So it's basically a time game. And Kisuke basically explains it like a virus sort of thing. So every year there's another strain of a virus, and even the littlest difference completely nullifies the previous vaccine for that year. So it makes sense. So Kisuke explains it here, and what is the exact time? So 48 times per 48 times per second. So her Ryatsu actually changes 48 times per second, which is absolutely ridiculous. So nothing would be quick enough to be able to adapt to that. So that's why you can hurt him. Now, interestingly enough, this gets a bit weird. Kisuke like waves this sort of string around, or is it like a little bell? And then Yoruichi just pounces on him and starts licking him. That's a bit weird, to be honest. So Kisuke thinks that Askin's been done in. So he's like, so it turns out that the immunisation injection he gave is going to wear off. But he says, we'll be able to drain it out anyway, so it'll be alright. Kisuke says that he's going to go look for Askin's body. Massive explosion happens. Even Kisuke's a bit surprised about this, and it turns out there's a massive ball, and it's actually called a poison ball. So everything in that ball, assuming is poisoned. Now it appears that Kisuke and the rest of them were actually in it. Kisuke is actually kind of, you know, on one knee, obviously shocked that Askin's still alive, which doesn't happen. Usually Kisuke's pretty good at, you know, he's good at predicting these sort of things. But Askin appears seemingly, and he's like, well, that's not what you mean, is it? And he says, you're more interested in this new form. So it turns out Askin has actually gone into his I can't even remember the name of it now because I haven't read it in so long, but you know, his kind of final form. And he looks a bit like an alien sort of thing. He's got like DNA sort of, you know, zigzags around his body everywhere, and it looks pretty stupid, to be honest. But it says rebirth of the apostle is called Hassan. A bit of a morbid name, and it turns out that it means God's poison taster. So obviously Askin's has been about poison and Ryatsu and all that, and it turns out that Askin's main role is basically a poison taster for UR. So basically he's the food taster, which is that's a pretty low rank when you think about it. He tastes all the shit so that UR doesn't get that. But obviously he's pretty powerful because he has to survive all this stuff. And that's actually the last chapter we've had recently. I'm assuming next fight is going to be Kisuke versus Askin in his new form. Are we actually going to see Kisuke's Bankai? Probably, because I don't see what else Kisuke can come up with at this point. He wouldn't be able to defeat Askin with his Shikai, I don't think. So maybe he has to have Bankai. Unless he defeats him with another sort of invention and saves his Bankai for someone else. But Uryu's fighting Hashwolf, so obviously Kisuke is probably not going to get involved with Hashwolf. He probably won't get involved with any of the Elite Sternritter, so either Kisuke is going to use his Bankai in this fight, or he's going to use his Bankai against UR. That's the only two people he can really use it against, unless someone else turns a traitor like Aizen. Maybe Aizen double crosses everyone, and Kisuke and Aizen have to have a legit fight, and Kisuke Bankais to deal with Askin. Who knows? That's pretty unreasonable. I genuinely think Aizen is on the Soul Reaper side, at least until UART's been dealt with. But it'll be interesting to see. Anyway, this was my catch-up video. It's probably gone on for quite a long time. No idea how long it is now. Probably over 10 minutes, I'd imagine. But as always, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video, and hopefully there won't be such a long hiatus between videos now. But I will actually be talking about another hiatus in another video at another date, so look forward to that. And if you've watched one of my previous videos, hiatus is quite an interesting word for a certain series. There's a bit of a hint there about what it actually is. But yes, as I said, as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye now.